So there is a petition for the UK government to prevent games from being taken down, and if it reaches 100,000 signatures, it will be taken before Parliament. So they will have to give an answer, a definitive answer. Oh, that's fantastic! Now it's reached 100,000 signatures, which means it will have to be reviewed by the government, and they'll have to give an answer in the Parliament. This response was given on 3rd February 2025. The government responded, "There are no plans to amend UK consumer law on disabling video games. Those selling games must comply with existing requirements in consumer law, and we will continue to monitor this issue." At 100,000 signatures, this petition will be considered for debate in Parliament. Deadline is 14th of July, and we've just hit that mark, 100,000 signatures. So let's have a look at the response they gave before. The government recognizes concerns. There is no requirement for software companies to support all the versions of their products. Decision making is for those companies taking account of commercial and regulatory factors and complying with existing consumer law. There may be occasions where companies make decisions based on the high running costs of maintaining older servers for games with declining user bases. It may be difficult and expensive for businesses to maintain support for old software, particularly if it needs to interact with new technologies. However, if software is offered for sale that is not supported by the provider, then this should be made clear, for example, on product web pages. If consumers are led to believe that a game will remain playable indefinitely for certain systems, may require that the game remains technically feasible, for example offline, to play. So the problem is, games like Overwatch, you cannot play Overwatch 1 anymore, which means there's no option, like we can't go back, we can't play on private servers either, because Blizzard doesn't have any, they don't allow private servers for Overwatch 1. So the only way we can play Overwatch 1 is when they bring back the classic mode every season for a few weeks, but it would be way better if you could just play the whole proper game, and if they hadn't taken it down and replaced it with Overwatch 2. Because while Overwatch 2 is a great game, Overwatch 1 has so many unique things going for it. So let's read this. Most video games sold can work indefinitely, but some have design elements that render the product non-functional at a time which the publisher controls, with no date provided at sale. We see this as a form of planned obsolescence, as customers can be deprived of their purchase and cannot retain or repair the game. We think this practice is hostile to consumers, entirely preventable, and have concerns existing laws do not address the problem. Thus, we believe government intervention is needed. So we'll see what happens with the outcome. This is the web URL stopkillinggames.com. Its consumer movement started to challenge the legality of publishers destroying video games they have sold to publishers. Now the thing with Overwatch, how this relates to Overwatch, I guess you could make the argument that Overwatch is not being sold, but it was being sold for Overwatch 1. So I'm not a lawyer obviously, so I don't know exactly how that would apply, but they did sell us a game and they took down the game. But then you could argue publishers should never have the obligation to keep up servers. Like if this cost is too expensive, then they have no option but to take down the servers. But then with Overwatch 1, it was still profitable. It was still doing fine. It wasn't at a point where they had no finance backing it. It's just they wanted more money, so they took it down. But I would like to see more regulation around. Like they have to have a good justification if they want to take a game down. So this is the EU petition for different countries. So the problem is I don't understand how this applies to live service games like Overwatch and what was the name of that game from Ubisoft that got taken down? Because that was taken down probably because it didn't make much money. But then they did sell you microtransactions and stuff. And then Realm Royale was taken down. Yeah, we won't change this stuff. So make sure you sign the European Citizens Initiative. Hopefully we get this recognized properly.